Welcome, readers, eaters, and travelers to Read, Eat, Travel, Repeat, the podcast and book club where books take us beyond the page. I'm Sarah.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Marianne. Today we're kicking off summer with a special episode. We've got a rapid fire this or that round to get us in the seasonal spirit, and then we'll dive into our summer reading goals, what we're excited to read, explore, and maybe even snack on poolside.
And don't worry, our next regularly scheduled episode is just around the corner. And as always, we are adult readers who say adult things. Shades, get something tasty to drink, maybe your TBR, because it's going to be a very bookish summer.
Now, Kit, do you really think people are worried about whether or not our regularly scheduled episode is just around the corner?
I think they are. They're concerned.
Hopefully, people who are listening now are excited to hear our new episode.
They're lobbing things our way.
So this is Marianne, and before we dive into our summer reading goals, we're starting things off with a rapid fire this or that round. Here's how it works. One of us will read out two options, and then we have to choose fast. No overthinking, just go with your gut. We might explain our choices, or we might just keep the chaos rolling. Ready? Let's go. I'm scared.
I'm scared too.
Nothing to be scared about.
Hey, we gave the adult warning, so, you know.
And you know what? This list, I kept it clean, although we want to.
Okay.
Let's start super easy. Series or standalone?
Standalone.
Yes, probably standalone.
I like a good series.
But I do love a good series. I hate it when the series goes on and on.
I like a connection. I like a connection with some overlapping characters, but I don't like to feel committed.
Right.
Maybe a duology.
Yes.
Then you're only like, I get a little more, but I'm not like I'm committed for 10 books, you know?
Yeah.
Or like Abby Jimenez, how her books have overlapping characters, but you could read them.
You can read them all alone. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or out of order. I've read them out of order before too, and it hasn't mattered. That's
Borrow
true.
or buy?
Borrow.
Ooh, I like the both of you were so like you can't see them. I'm pointing at TikTok. You can't see the faces they just made, but they were both just very different with completely opposite answers. But
like I am one of those people that cannot like crack the spine, so I like to buy them and have them perfect. Which is also why I like to buy them in person, so that I can make sure I get the cover that doesn't have a tear or anything in it.
I like to buy them for exactly the opposite reason. My books look like they've been through a war.
Yes, we have read your books before, so we've experienced the Cheetos things.
Cheetos.
Which brings us to our next this or that. Annotate the pages or keep them pristine?
Pristine.
Well, I read on my Kindle now pretty much exclusively, so I do add some notes, especially since we've been doing this podcast. I throw in some notes of things I feel like we're going to want to talk about in the future.
I've been starting to annotate, and I love how pretty the annotation is.
Uh-huh.
And I have to say, my teaching books for my English class, those are all annotated because I got to remember the quotes and stuff that I have to talk about.
I do not annotate. I do more on the Kindle, but I don't annotate. But pristine is a thing that has never existed in my life. So messy, but not with any sort of intention.
And if I annotate, I want it to match. Like I want to use the color highlighter that matches and all that. I'm a little OCD when it comes to that.
Tell us you're an English teacher without telling us you're an English teacher.
Exactly.
All right. One book at a time or multiple reads all at once?
Multiple reads.
I have a like read one I'm reading and one I'm listening to pretty much all the time. I
pick up books and set them down like it's my job. I'll have it.
It is your job. You don't have any other.
It is right now.
Yay. Of course. I got jobs.
I am usually listening to one and reading one at school that I just leave at school and reading one at home. Yeah. Sometimes I have a hardcover or a paperback and a Kindle book going. Sometimes, like right now, I also have a nonfiction for school that I've been reading for 6 months.
Yeah.
Because I'm supposed to read it for my end of the year, which is next week.
Right.
I'll be adding that one to my list.
That I only read in the car. I've got like a book that sits down here that I want to read a little bit. Everywhere. All right. So let's go. New release or backlist gem?
Yes.
Both.
Yeah. Is it a book? Then yes.
Yes. I would like
yes.
All right.
I mean, there's something fun. I don't know about you guys, but back in our Twilight Mom days, the thrill of getting an arc and reading it before it came big.
Yeah.
Before it became something big.
Yeah.
I was like, delirium.
Yep.
The Delirium series, I was like, yeah, we read the arc of that. We knew that. We knew about Lauren before she got
This
super
is the one
popular.
that I
Well, we
read.
had before I fall. Remember,
Before
that
I
was
fall.
that
Oh,
was
God, I
my
love that
very
book.
first arc I ever got. Yes.
This is the one that I waved around
Shadow
at
and
people.
Bone.
The arc of
Look at
Shadow
that.
and Bone.
Wow.
That like I read and was like, yeah, it's pretty good. And then when it got big, I was like, oh my god! Like I have the arc.
I have that. I've read it. Yeah.
I also clearly dropped it in like a puddle or something.
Oh, no.
These pages they were damp at one point.
Hey, didn't we all have the arc of Scorpio races?
Yeah.
I think we did. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I still have it. That's right. I still have it.
I didn't have an arc of Shiver, but that was one that I remember I was one of the first in our like all of Twilight Moms to read it because I just thought the cover was so beautiful, and then it was like,
Yeah.
wait, this is really good.
Yeah.
There's some when I moved across country and I was like figuring out which books I was going to bring, and I brought them all. Spoiler alert: all 3,000 came with me.
Oh
But
my
there
god.
was some arcs in there that I forgot that I had as an arc.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's like that book became big.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Next question. Do you like to read in a quiet space or do you need some background noise?
I prefer quiet, but I can read in noise. Some noise.
Yeah.
Depending on the book.
I have to have noise. Like I have the TV going at all times. Silence,
Yeah.
I get so my own brain distracts me more than it should.
Yeah.
So it has to be like
I frequently have music on, like if I'm reading at school, I put on movie themes
Uh-huh.
Mm.
so that there are no words, but the kids still know them. They'll be like, "Is that the Harry Potter theme?" I'm like, "Yes, it is."
Matter of fact.
And if I'm reading outside, because I live in a summer town, it's usually other people's music or like the birds or whatever. That doesn't bother me. But
Do you notice the kids getting out of this? Oh, no, I guess you're getting involved to a certain point. We're doing the bulk of this or that.
the answering.
Very, very sneaky.
I love it, this or that. I'm answering every single one. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right.
I
You're
know,
right.
you are.
Okay.
You are.
Just also reading the questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got, do you like to read indoors or outdoors? Like if you have the option, the weather
Yes.
is nice.
Yes.
Anywhere?
Outdoors
Maybe
Outdoors.
when possible.
Yeah.
specifically next to a campfire. Like if I had to pick, I'd be like campfire reading
In
Well,
the
we have
woods somewhere. Like
for sure.
We have a legit tiki hut in our backyard, and I like to sit in the tiki hut while the demon goes swimming and read it. I sit there almost every day after school and go out there and
just
read.
read.
Nice.
Even when it's cold, I wear like I live in Florida, so cold is relative. But I'll wear a hoodie and sweats and go sit out there.
I have a hammock chair, like with a big rack or whatever, and I face the water from my deck because we don't live on the water, but I can see it
yeah.
like a couple houses down, and I stretch my feet out and I push myself on the deck railing and I just rock and read, and I'm like,
That sounds nice.
and I cuddle up with a blanket, because it's kind of chilly here today.
I
It's
used
beautiful.
to have a really good deck set when I was in New York, but we sold it with the house. And I was like, we'll just buy a new one because we got it at like Home Depot. Like it wasn't like anything like
Yeah.
super special, and we haven't been able to like replicate the set. So I bought a pair off of Amazon that looked amazing. It was like a lounger. It had like the umbrella.
Right, yep.
You could rock. It is so low to the ground, and I am so old. That like
Oh,
It's hard to get that.
stop, please.
roll in and out of it. Like my knees don't work at all on a good day.
Um,
You have to-
I'm the one that's had the knee replacement. Remember?
I have a fake knee. I got that when I was in college.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh
It
wow.
took that a long time. That was a college like sophomore year. I think. I had
Really?
surgery.
Damn.
Not just an ACL, but they like did a knee replacement.
Yeah, there's nothing real happening in my left knee. Rather.
That's
Damn.
crazy.
And I'll need. They said it'll last for 20 years, and then you'll need something else. And I was like, okay, great.
Hmm.
We're creeping
Well,
up
but the
on it.
technology now is like
Yeah.
way better.
All right, let's do some book tropes.
Okay.
Got a list of those too. So, enemies to lovers or friends to lovers for a good romance.
I like the
Enemies.
enemies to lovers.
Enemies to lovers.
Uh-huh.
My favorite is lovers to enemies to lovers, where they start out together and then
Oh,
and they use all of that like intimate knowledge to like just do cosmic damage.
Like a second chance romance too. So
But like with some real
Yeah.
yeah.
in the middle.
What do we? Okay, I'm curious then. Side question: what do you consider Puck and Kate? they're kind of enemies to
They're kind
lovers
of enemies to lovers.
because they're never really friends. Like he's her competitor,
I don't know that they're enemies where
Right.
they hate each other.
but they're not friends either.
No,
Like
they're not. They're more like competitors to lovers.
Adversaries.
adversaries.
I like
Yeah,
it. Adversaries to lovers. That's what I would go for that.
yeah.
Love triangle or soulmate?
Soulmate.
Mm.
I hate love triangles. Started
it's
with
not a
Twilight.
Oh yeah.
I know you're a Jacob person, but I was like, dude, come on, this
I-
kid.
My deep dislike of love triangle is purely mathematical in that it's not a fucking triangle. It's
This is
it's a TP.
This is true. It's just a T like this, right? Because these two are not in love with each other
Yeah.
And if
unless
were,
they are.
if we were, I'd be down. If we were a real triangle, I'd be okay with it. If it was like male, female, male, female, male, male, gorgeous.
Like if it was, Bella Edward, Bella Jacob, Jacob Edward.
Oh gosh. I don't think it would be Y. Would it still be YA at that point?
No.
Why wouldn't it be YA? Teenage boys like each other. It's
I
no more
understand
Oh my
than
gosh.
male, female.
That's true, but I think just the whole multiple at the same time type of thing. Yeah.
I always hate it when they throw the second character in as a love interest. I rarely like the second character better.
Yes,
The exception is PETA in the Hunger Games. Because at first I was super pissed. I was like, dude, she's with Gale. Like, she needs to stay with Gale. And they introduced PETA, but then it was like, I can't. Like, Gale is an
Gale
idiot.
sucks.
Yeah.
I also did not like PETA at first, and then I was like, I was wrong. Like,
And
well
there's
done.
another, it's like Vampire Diaries, too.
Yeah.
She goes with Stefan,
Mhm.
and then she's like, just kidding, I want Damien. Like,
Or we're very vampire centric all of a sudden, but
We are.
the Suki Stackhouse series
yes.
because
Yeah, but I liked Eric better.
take a walk off a short pier because, and then even Elsie, everybody's better than Bill. TikTok.
Yep.
I don't
Yep.
That's where we're going.
This is true.
Everybody's better than Bill. Even Sam. Which
So
I'm
I
not
guess there's a
sure-
couple exceptions to the second, but I always hate it when authors do that because I'm like, you have invested me in this character.
Right.
I guess the exception would be when I read Fourth Wing, I did not love Dane right away.
Yeah.
I was like, he's a controlling asshole. Like, he needs to not. And so I wasn't sad that he wasn't the one.
Well, I think, okay, so I'm thinking about Frozen, okay, because that's what's just coming to mind.
Oh, yeah.
But how like the love triangle is kind of designed to make it show you that the
Yes.
first guy's a jerk,
Yes.
Yes.
But that was very intentional.
Right,
guess.
right. But I feel like sometimes authors do that though too. So like,
Yeah.
you see all the flaws in the first guy when they introduce the second guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
But
right.
I have to like revert to Disney.
But
That's
I
my
remember
default.
watching that with my girls and being like, what? He did
I-
not just say that.
I
Like,
saw it in the theater, and I remember being like something along the lines of like I leaned over and I was like, "So do you think Kristoff is gonna save her?" Because there's the line where it's like your true love will save you.
yes.
You think Kristoff's gonna save her? And I remember my kid looked at me like I was the dumbest person on the planet and was like, "Her sister's gonna save her." And I was
What? I didn't even get that. I didn't figure that out. I was like, whoa, this is so
Yeah,
cool.
your
Good
sister
job.
loves you.
Well done, Disney. Well done.
Right. I was like, got it. Because we as adults, we've been conditioned to the
Yes.
being like the true
Romantic
Yes.
love.
who
Yeah.
loves you the most. And in Frozen, it was not romantic love. It was
Yeah.
the person that loves you the most,
Yeah.
which is the sister. And I was like, dang, okay, the 5-year-old got me on that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you right.
For sure.
Sure.
That's
All right,
crazy.
next question. Small town charm or big city chaos?
Big city.
Small town charm.
Small town.
I'm a sucker
love
for
big-
the small town.
I love big cities. I love the energy. So I like, yeah.
You lived in New York for so long, like when growing up, though, right? So you kind of.
I lived on and off in New York, but I've never lived in a small town. I mean, I lived
Yeah.
in a very suburban area here, and lived I like the city.
Yeah. I love visiting the city. I never I don't know. I'm always happy to go home. I would rather vacation in small towns.
All right, next question. Slow burn or instant love?
Slow burn.
Slow burn.
Fucking hate a slow burn. Like, in a book, in real life, like, no. Like,
If it's done well, though, sometimes it's like, okay, they could have hooked up like 100 pages ago,
yeah.
and it still
Yeah.
would have been good. Like this
Yes.
gets excessive, but
And I do like the like will they won't they of a slow
Yes.
burn. Like, but after a while I'm like, just kiss already. Like,
Yeah.
stop it.
yeah, there's
But
still got to be like some tension there for me to
Yes.
like.
But
buy
the whole
into it, but-
instant thing sometimes is just like I roll my eyes at it. Like,
Yeah. Well, sometimes I'm like, if it's instant, I'm like, oh, great. Now we're going to have the other trope that I don't like, the miscommunication.
yes, and
Just
then
freaking
third-
talk to him or
Yeah.
whatever. And if they hook up too soon, then you always have the wrong communication and one person goes this way and one person goes this way. I
Right.
don't like that.
All right, last one. Grumpy sunshine or just soft sunshine.
grumpy sunshine.
Grumpy sunshine.
Oh, grumpy sunshine.
Yeah.
Especially when like whoever the sunshine is gets so frustrated that they're just like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Yep.
just-
Yep. Especially the grumpy sunshine too, where she turns him, makes him realize that love is possible or that
Yeah.
I can be happy. And
Yeah.
Or and vice versa. I mean, I've heard a couple that like she was the grump and he was the sunshine.
Right.
So
right. That's true.
we just can't assume genders.
I know. This is true.
That's what the Olivia Dade's book, the All the Feels one with the grumpy
Yeah.
sunshine is like the grumpy is the girl, the sunshine is the boy. That's why I loved it so much because he was like full golden retriever energy. And she
That's
was
what
like,
Teach Me was. I just read Teach Me Olivia Dade. It was like that too. The girl was super uptight
yeah,
and he was just like a puppy dog.
yes.
And I loved that.
I love that. All right.
All right, now that we've warmed up with our this or that, let's talk summer reading goals, whether it's tackling that towering TBR, diving into a new genre, or simply making time to read in the sunshine. We're sharing what we hope to read and how we plan to make it happen this summer. So, kids.
I'm immediately going to like thwart this entire topic. I do not set goals anymore. I used to, when we were at Twilight Moms, I used to set like really specific goals. Like I want to read this many books and I'm going to read, I would do all, like every challenge that popped up where it was like, read a book from every state or fill out this bingo card. And what I found was I was spending so much time trying to like check the box
Mm-hmm.
that it stopped being fun.
Yeah.
So my goal for this summer is quite literally just read.
Yeah.
Like if it's pick up a book and put it down because it's not the right book for the moment,
Yeah.
fine. If it's read only monster fucking romance, fine. If that's what I can, like handle at the moment, great. If it's listen to more audiobooks because I'm driving around with
Yeah.
a horse in the trailer, awesome. So my goal for the summer is quite literally just read. Like just make time to read.
I'm pretty much with you. I would like to find some books like that are set in either Las Vegas or the Grand Canyon because we are going to be visiting both of those for the first time. So I do need to kind of take a look and see if I can find a couple for each of those. But I'm pretty much the same way. I'm definitely a mood reader. I belong to a NetGalley Facebook group, and these people have these spreadsheets, and I'm like, no, I don't know what I'm going to want to read tonight. So
Yeah.
I'm just going to read whatever. And plus, then I have a lot of ARCs on my Kindle, but I also have like 3 different Libby accounts through 3 different libraries.
Yeah.
So I never know what's going to pop up, and I'm not going to turn down a book I've been waiting on just to read something that's already on my spreadsheet. So
Yeah.
And then sometimes too, like I started reading this book, and I'm not going to name the author or anything, but it was set in Ireland, and it's an ARC, and it's from a big publisher, and the main female character is so unlikable
Mm-hmm.
that even though it's set in Ireland that I love, I've put it down twice already. I was like at 40%,
yeah.
and I was like, I can't stand this girl. I don't want to read any more about her, but it's in Ireland. Okay, I'll read a little bit more.
Yeah.
And now I'm like at 60%. I'm like, I really don't care about this girl anymore, even though it's in Ireland.
Yeah.
So I can't make specific goals. It has to be where the mood takes me, and especially at summertime. Summertime is the time to let loose and relax and read for fun.
Yeah.
What about you, Sarah?
kind of nerdy. I try.
I have a spreadsheet.
I don't have a spreadsheet. I do have kind of a goal where, like, I feel during the school year I read slower because I'm reading a lot, but I'm reading like essays and
Yeah.
play scripts and things like that for theater. So it's not unusual for me to read 15 or 20 books over the summer, like to set that goal for myself. Like I want to read 20 books or whatever. I do have my big goal is I'm going to finish the Throne of Glass series. And I'm at the last 3 books, but anyone who knows Sarah J. Maas and knows those books, there's 2 ways to read them. Apparently you can read them in chronological order, or you can read them for the love, like tropes.
Oh.
And so Assassin's Blade, which is chronologically the first one, didn't come out until like after the 4th or the 5th one.
It's like Star Wars.
Yeah, but it's like a prequel, but it's one of those that helps you understand better.
Mhm.
And so I've been reading in that order. And the next 2 books I have are Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn. Why do I have balloons coming out of my That was really weird. I looked up and there were balloons on my screen.
So confused.
How do you?
I did not touch anything. Maybe we hit some sort of milestone or whatever, and they were, celebrating us. But anyway, Empire Storms and Tower of Dawn, you're supposed to dual read. Like you read this chapter in this book, and then you read this chapter in this chapter. And I'm like, I can't do that when school is going on because I'm literally going to take these 2 books that are this thick. I got to mark all the chapters. Like there's all these ways. And everyone says that when you read it that way, at first you're like, why do I need to read this? And then you get to the end and you're like, oh, because I think it's the same thing from 2 points of view.
Okay.
So you're reading like their points. So that's my big goal because I was like, that's too much for my brain to handle during school.
Yeah.
And then the last book, which everyone says will absolutely destroy you.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, well, so that's my goal. Then I have read all of Sarah J. Maas because I read The Crescent City too. And then, I still have those books from the book conference that I went to, the book signing or whatever, a couple of really good ones. One's called Silent Sister by another Michigan author that I really want to read. It's got really good reviews. So probably try to tackle this TBR pile behind me. Yeah. But that's my main goal is the Sarah J. Maas. I was like, I just have to read these like over the summer.
My goal is always to attempt to read down the TBR, and then that doesn't matter because I just keep buying more books.
Mm-hmm. I know.
I'll read one and I'll be like,
because I'm 100% a mood reader.
Yeah.
Which is also why I didn't finish this. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to start Throne of Glass and you're going to finish the whole thing. And I'm like, it's so heavy that sometimes I'll read one and I'm like, I want to read the next one, but I just can't. My brain needs a break.
Sometimes you need a break in between.
Because the world building, like it's such a huge world that you're like, what? So I've been thinking too about listening because I've read them before, but listening to Lord of the Rings.
Ooh,
because it's been probably 20 years since I read it. I read them when the movies came out, all of them, and The Hobbit. But I was like, maybe I'll get dumb something different by listening when I don't have to do the Elvish in my head when that's actually being read.
I listened to them when we were driving across the country because it's something that was like going to get me all the way there.
You need like 50 hours.
Right.
50 hours of a book.
I pretty much exclusively listened to the books I've already read. So for example, I had already read Mad Honey, but then to hear it,
yes,
I got so much more out of it than I did from reading it. Just hearing the different voices and the different points of view.
Well, that's what started me with audiobooks. Same thing. I'm like, I've already read it, but I haven't read it in 10 years. I want to read it. Let me just listen to it.
Really hard time with audiobooks, just focus wise. Like I get very distracted. Right. So I do listen mostly to books I've already read.
Right. That's what I just say for me.
Distracted, it's okay. I kind of already know what's happening.
Yeah, because even if I pretty much only listen in the car, and still sometimes I'll be thinking about like what I need to get done when I get to work. And then I realize I've missed 5 minutes of the book because I was thinking about something else. Even though it was playing the whole time. So which just shows those kids who tell us they can still hear us even though they have the earbuds in. They cannot. They're not listening. They're hearing us, but they're not listening.
Yeah, I started when my girls were young. Because we had a 24-minute commute to school. We listened to all the Harry Potters. We listened to the Graceling series, Graceling, Fire, and Bitter Blue. Yeah, because I was like, same thing. I've read those before. We listened to all of Cassandra Clare, the Shadowhunters series. Yeah, and I was like, I've been kind of going back and forth, like, and then of course I re-listened to Scorpio Races. They have also listened to Scorpio Races. They love it as much as I do. Yes. But I like some of those where I've been thinking of like, maybe I'll go back and I'll listen to Delirium. I haven't read those in a while.
To a lot of the books we read. For
Yeah, just because I was like, and it's
Yeah.
been 10 or 15 years for
Yeah.
some of them. So I'm like, I want to.
Have you seen, this has nothing to do with audiobooks, but the Graceland graphic novel?
No, I have not, but
So good. And I was so excited when it came out because I could put it on the shelf for like my students and be like, guys, because I love pairing
I
graphic
love
novels.
that series got popular again, like
Yeah.
10 years later.
Yep.
Because we thought it was great the first time we read it.
Yeah.
And then after Bitter Blue, that was the next one. There's been 2 that have come out in the last like 3 years.
Yes.
And I'm like, this
And
is
the
from a
graphic
series that's
novels
been
and
out
you
for.
can, like, yeah,
Uh-huh.
I love that. I have the graphic novel on my shelf, and I'm just like
The other one is the Poison.
the
Study of Poison, Poison Study. Poison Study, and then, which we love, Poison Study. And then she wrote The Study of Poison
Yep.
from Valak, is that was his
Yep,
name?
Valak.
The guy's point of view. And that was
Yes,
so
yes.
good. I read that
Yes.
last year.
I
And
was
now
very
she's
excited
finishing
to
that
see
whole
it.
series.
And she's
Yeah.
such a Maria Snyder's author. She's
Yes.
such a nice person. I met her at a conference,
Yes.
and it cracked me up because the books, I thought, like, you know, there's assassins and poison and all this intrigue and stuff, and then she is just like the nicest,
Yeah.
sweetest lady, and I was like,
Where does this come from?
Come from?
Mhm.
Like, I love getting to meet authors for that reason, where you're
Yeah.
just like, I never ever would have put
Yeah.
her with that book, but it's
Yeah.
so good.
So yeah, I'm with you. I like, and those are the ones I'll buy on Audible too, usually.
Yeah.
Like, and then I have them, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of like a comfort book. I'm going to re-listen to it again someday.
Yeah.
And all the Hunger Games, Elena's liked it because Elena really loves Hunger Games. That's like her series. And we just added Hunger Games to our 9th grade curriculum, and she's in 9th grade. She's a freshman, and so she read it. But then she's so busy. She's like, Mom, can I log into your Audible and listen to it? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, you can.
So now she's now I see, because she's in my same Audible login, and so I'm like, oh, who's been listening to Catching Fire? Oh wait, now we're on Mockingjay. Now we're on Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Like, she just keeps working her because she loves those books. So
Yeah.
How many years
Like,
difference
hey.
are between your girls?
3, no, 2.5,
okay.
2.5. So they're 3 grades different, but
Oh, okay.
2.5 years.
So she's a freshman now, but she'll be a sophomore next year.
She'll be a sophomore next year. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the only year the 2 of them were in high school together.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Nothing to do with anything related to books. Sarah, do you have a Mac? Are you on a Mac?
Yeah.
So that's what the balloons are. I Googled it. Apparently, only if you're running a Mac, if you do certain hand gestures, different things will pop up. So when you put your head down, you want like this, like you want like that, and apparently a peace sign pops up balloons.
So I go like this.
Oh, it didn't work that time. But yes, I Googled it, and it says certain hand gestures while recording will like throw up.
Okay.
certain-
That's very random.
Yeah. I was like, that's so weird because no one clicked anything. But
You're right. I was like this, and then I looked up and went, "Why are there balloons?"
It's a reaction.
I saw that yellow thing popping up. I'm like, why is there something?
What?
Oh, wait. There's a lot of
There's
balloons.
more. Yeah, and because I've been looking down the whole time, I was like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
All right, so we've done our this and that. We've talked about our summer reading goals, and we just want to remind you guys of some upcoming episodes we have. We will be doing our May reading recap on June 10th and talking about Summer in the City on June 24th. So stay tuned for both of those.
And don't forget to follow our socials, subscribe to the podcast, and please leave us a review. We want to know what you think. We think we're pretty funny, and we hope you do too.
It's very true. And of course, let us know if there's a book you'd like to see us read or cover for our monthly book club. So until next time, keep reading.
Keep exploring.
And don't forget to pack snacks.
Yes.